Nils Peterson, 841 Travoy. Let me read this. It started out to be 600 words long to go to the Daily News.
I'll give you 3 minutes, Nils.
Count the 3 minutes or the 600 words, whichever you like. On March 10, Keegan Caldwell, the city's sustainability intern, reported to the admin committee on his efforts to establish a baseline for the city's greenhouse gas emissions as part of Resolution 2010-18 that committed the city to a 20% reduction below 2005 greenhouse gas emissions by the year 2020. One element of Caldwell's report looked at sectors of the city's greenhouse gas emissions, buildings, vehicle fleet, etc. He reported that the electricity needed to pump water and treat sewage accounts for 43% of the city's emissions. Caldwell noted two things. First, he said there was not much room for improved efficiency in this area. The pumps and other equipment needed were already efficient. Second, he noted that since the greenhouse gas emissions for water sewer are a large fraction of the total, making the 20% reduction citywide would require proportionally more reductions from other sectors. Caldwell's analysis is based on EPA-designated Pacific Northwest regional fuel mix for producing electricity. The mix contains both coal and natural gas. His analysis is based on a regional average of 900 pounds of CO2 released per megawatt hour of electricity generated. According to the NRDC report, Avista's 2012 power is cleaner than the regional average, just under 600 pounds of carbon dioxide per megawatt. So that would adjust, if we really were more specific, it would adjust Caldwell's numbers down a bit, but it would adjust all of them down a bit. As a residential customer of Avista, I can use the Buck a Block program and pay a small premium to purchase electricity for my home produced from wind. The result is the electricity I'm buying has no greenhouse gas emissions. On June 24, I saw a story where American University and George Washington University have signed a 20-year power purchase agreement with Duke Energy to purchase more than half of their power from 3 new solar farms in North Carolina. The universities believe they will save money over the life of the contract. I presume the city could approach Avista and contract to purchase some or all of its electricity from sources that do not produce greenhouse gas emissions. I want to urge the council to consider addressing its greenhouse gas emissions goal by purchasing clean electricity. Caldwell also made a passing suggestion that the city take most of the water sewer greenhouse gas emissions off its books by assigning them to its customers. That led me to consider what I could do to cut 20% of the greenhouse gas emissions associated with my water sewer use. The simple strategy I could adopt is conservation. If I were to use 20% less water and sewer, I would be responsible for 20% less emissions. The simple way to do that is with a more efficient toilet, because toilets are both major water users and major sewer producers. A low-flow toilet uses 1.6 gallons versus 3.5 gallons of older designs, a 50% reduction. I want to urge the council to establish a toilet exchange program. It would conserve water. It would also reduce the city's greenhouse gas emissions associated with both water and sewer operations. My fundamental concern is that the city has ostensibly been working on reducing its greenhouse gas emissions since passing the resolution in 2010. Caldwell reported some progress has been made with the Eco Driver program, but mostly he reported on collecting baseline data, which the ICLEI process he's using has as the first of 5 steps. It's now 2014. There are 5 budget years remaining before 2020, your deadline. Purchasing clean electricity and making toilets more efficient are low-hanging fruit, either of which might allow the city to meet its emissions goal. Thank you.
Thank you.
I
remember reading this somewhere.
Thank you, Nils. Other comments from other folks?
Just one. Did you look at, seeing that the city doesn't make money out of thin air, were the city to buy its energy with the additional surcharge to make sure it was non-carbon producing, how much would that cost the city to transfer to that Because, you know.
Well, I'm hoping you would ask staff that question, since I don't know how much energy the city consumes. It wasn't in Caldwell's report.
So how much extra do you pay, for example? Probably different for
I
the
pay
city.
$1 for 300 kilowatts. That's what a block is. But my reason for mentioning the Duke, or the American University example, is by doing a long-term contract rather than doing a consumer kind of arrangement. They do it month by month. By cementing some longer-term deal, those universities think they've actually saved money on their power bill because they were able to lock in a rate. I think it's in anticipation that otherwise rates will rise of carbon-generated electricity. So staff would do more than just answer the buck-a-block equation. They might answer whether they thought Avista would actually agree to some other kind of contract arrangement.
Anybody else have questions for Nils before
I
we
do.
move on? You got one?
Yeah, I got one. Nils, where the very bulk of our energy comes from hydroelectric power, what's the carbon footprint on that?
So the NRDC report says that Avista's power production contains some amount of coal and some amount of natural gas. It's not all clean.
But do you know the percentage?
And it's 600 pounds per milliwatt hour or megawatt hour created. So I don't know what the percentage is, but it's a footprint. There's a factor in it. So it's something to buy your way out of one way or another. My
Okay.
point is that of all of the ways for you to meet your goal,
Thank you,
that may be the
Nils.
simplest.
We're going to move on. Other folks like to come up and give us comment?